Well, Al Guido came in 2016 mindful of the legacy. It's not just the DeBartolo family and the Joe Montana and Roger Craig and the winning San Francisco 49ers bringing pride to the Bay Area. It's also Carmen policy, the idea of creating management with the Niners that actually learns how to make significant inroads in a region and continues to do it. Here's Al Guido on legacy and more. So we're segueing into the protection of the legacy of the DeBartolo family and now the York family, but the DeBartolo family. The memory of Carmen policy and Joe Montana. Pretty tough legacy to follow. Very significant obligation for you.
Very much so. I mean, in the serious nature, I stand on the shoulder of giants. Yeah. And I think the way I view it, in which is I have the keys right now to the DeBartolo York family legacy. I get to run the business day to day, but I never lose focus or sight of all of those who allowed me to do this and gave us the opportunity in the world of professional sports to have it be such a grand stage. I mean, it would not have been a grand stage that it is today if not for Bill Walsh, if not for Joe Montana, if not for Ronnie Lott and the 5 Super Bowl trophies, if not for Mr. D. And so it's never lost on me when I walk inside that building and I see those 5 Super Bowl trophies. If you ever lose track of what you're there to do, you quickly get reminded the minute you walk in the door. And the York family has carried that on. And look, we haven't won, but we've been to a number of NFC Championship games. We've been to 2 Super Bowls in 11 years. We're one of the more successful franchises and obviously one of the greatest markets in the National Football League. I pinch myself every day I get to go into that building.
So I was lucky enough to be part of that whole process to get some of the financing early with the stadium with Carmen. And if Carmen policy were here today and kind of evaluated what you're doing, he would give you a hug and be proud of it, I would assume.
I think so. He emails me often, and I've had a chance to, as you now know Carmen well, I've had a chance to break bread as Italians and enjoy some wine and talk some shop. And Carmen, it's all these guys. I mean, I'm spoiled in the Bay, right? I have Carmen policy was there before me long ago. I have Larry Bear. I have Rick Welts, who's a good friend who's now retired. I mean, when I showed up, Rick Welts invited me to the President CEO dinner when he first got to the Warriors. And I remember showing up that day. I was probably 37, 38 years old. And I looked around that table and I said, man, I have a lot to learn from a lot of these individuals. And Carmen's been somebody that reaches out. Not often, but when he does, it matters.
Yep. And very well put. So Levi's has a lot of firsts to me. Design, suites on one side. Infrastructure development used for community good, the whole vaccination site issue. What do you think is the biggest takeaway and the legacy and the best practice? What's the thing you're most proud of Levi's?
I think the vision of Levi's Stadium is yet to be consumed in the way, and I mean this in a good way, that the stadium was built on 3 pillars: fan experience, sustainability, and technology. Okay. And that last pillar, there's beautiful stadiums. We're going to see one in SoFi. That last pillar, as you think about Levi's Stadium and the future of sports, and I wrote about this in the book, to me it's like the global digitalization of sports. We saw that happen in society, but as it relates to sports, and look, we're sitting here in this interview in crypto.com arena. Yeah. This was a sponsorship category that did not exist 18 months ago. Right. And so I think that for us, like, our legacy will be ever evolving. It won't be written. It wasn't written in 2014. It's not going to be written in 2022. I think the reality is that we have a chance to build on physical infrastructure with technology more than probably any other stadium that's been done, given the fact that we're in Silicon Valley and we have great partners to do so.
Bay Area, and coupled with that, Super Bowl 50, WrestleMania 31, Stadium Series in 15 for the NHL, international soccer, Pac-12 championship, U2, and the Grateful Dead, my God. So obviously you set the stage for multi-purpose flexibility and the ability to deal with a lot of different demographics.
Yeah, we're very proud. I mean, we did more large events or live events than any other stadium in our first 5 years of operation, and that's without a dome and not easy to do. And so I think that the other things I'm proud of is the economic impact that we've driven in that region, the jobs that we've created. I think these sports teams are tremendous community assets, and it is your responsibility, in my opinion, to give back to that community. And that could be through wins on the field, it could be through your nonprofit foundation, it could be through jobs, it could but truthfully, it should be all of those things. Yeah. And I think that what the York family did under Jed York's leadership is create a sports and entertainment property. And that was different than what we were doing at Candlestick Park.
Yeah, clearly. And you've raised the bar that people have not yet even reached in a lot of different cases. Talk about Elevate. You're the chair and CEO, 70 clients. It's a sales, but it's also a full-service organization. $530 million of assets at Levi's and $600 million of assets at AT&T with the Cowboys. You started as the SVP of Global Sales. Tell us about Legends and the evolution into this company.
Yeah, so I started with the Dallas Cowboys in 2006, and I was there through 2009, the opening of now AT&T Stadium. That led to the creation of Legends. And Legends started as an F&B company, slowly sort of not pivoted, but added on sales and marketing. I was the first employee of the sales and marketing engine. That's how I got out to the Bay Area. The 49ers hired Legends to oversee the sales and marketing of Levi's Stadium. I did that from 2010 to through 2014 until I joined Levi's full-time, or the 49ers full-time as COO and then president. So starting Elevate 3.5 years ago, I really saw in our minds that there was this void in the sports and frankly brand and technology space as it relates to service-based companies. And we've been lucky enough in 3.5 years. Now we're up to 150 properties under our umbrella. We have 180 employees in 25 states and 3 countries. And truly, I think, as you think about the risk profile and or how the evolution of sports has changed, these enterprises are now billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar enterprises where, where I was growing up in the Philadelphia Eagles built a stadium. They built a $300 million stadium, and that thought was like cutting edge at the time. Yeah. Now, all of these sports teams, all of these owners are thinking about monetization in different ways, and Elevate is there to service them. And look, I got great 4 equity partners, Tim Lywicki, the folks at Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, Live Nation through Michael Rapino and Ticketmaster, and the 49ers, because I wouldn't be able to do 2 jobs without the 49ers. Right. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's basically setting the standard for the industry. You don't have to say that. I'll say it. We can both say it. Let's spend some time talking about some NFL-related issues. First, we talked a little bit about crypto and $700 million, but talk about gambling generally. If you'd have thought 5 years ago, pre-Supreme Court decision, that gambling would be as prolific as it is today, people would have thought you were crazy. Give me your overall impression of where it is and where it's going.
Oh, I think we're just beginning. And the reality is, if you think about it, not every state has legalized, right? We're sitting here in a state that doesn't necessarily have it. And so I think we're on the cusp of what becomes the future. And technology sort of follows this curve. If you think about what happened to Daily Fantasy and Yahoo and how that evolved, I think you're going to see the same evolution inside the gaming industry. But I do think that, one, it has to be done responsibly, of course. But I think that for the NFL, it is a massive opportunity to gain fans that might not have followed your sport. Yeah. And I do think that these companies, obviously, they're spending marketing dollars right now to gain customer acquisition. Do they continue to do that? Is there consolidation in the space? How do they bundle their services throughout time? I think what the NFL did with their 3 partners is very, very smart, and they thought about customer acquisition and scale. But I'll tell you, as a property, we're following the legislation very closely to see how the San Francisco 49ers might be able to tap into the opportunities that exist in gaming.